This user on TikTok, who goes by at jfoy_3.0, stated in a series of videos that his grandfather is actually the Zodiac killer. All credits go to Jfoy for sharing his experience and allowing creators like me to share it with my audience. In this first video, he reveals who his grandfather is and why he thinks he is the Zodiac killer. Let's take a look.
My grandpa is the motherfucking Zodiac killer, and this is not clickbait, so please, I need the power of the internet to share this, bookmark it, and blow my comment section up. I want to start off by saying this is not just based off physical appearance. I typed in my grandpa's name on Google the other day, and to my fucking surprise, internet sleuths have been throwing my grandpa's name around for years, connecting him as the Zodiac motherfucking killer. As you can see here in all these pictures on the screen somewhere, that it looks exactly like my grandpa. Let's talk about it. My grandpa was a Vallejo police officer. Yes, the same area where the Zodiac killer's fucking killings took place. Let's move forward. Let's talk about the Darlene Sharon murder. Let me tell you, this is not in any order, but the more evidence I give you, you are going to be convinced that my grandpa is in fact the Zodiac killer. Darlene Farron and her boyfriend Mike or Matt, forgot the fucking guy's name, were driving around Vallejo one night, the night that my grandfather happened to be on duty, driving an unmarked police car and wearing plain clothes. Mike, who ended up surviving the shooting, said that they were being followed around by this car all night in Vallejo before they pulled into Blue Rock Springs. They said when they parked, the car pulled in, a man hopped out of the car, and Darlene, the girl who passed away, said, "Oh my God, that's Richard. He's gonna kill us both." Apparently, she was dating a police officer in Vallejo behind her husband's back. She was apparently a thotty. Rest in peace, Darlene Farron. So this guy in her passenger seat is one of her many boyfriends, and it was well known by her friend group that she was dating a Vallejo cop, although she never told them the name. She had a painting party at her house a few weeks before her murder, and it was said that my grandfather, Richard Hoffman, showed up uninvited, and she told her circle of friends that she is scared to death of him, and he was not invited there. My grandpa denies these claims. He says he never laid eyes on her, but then later goes on to say, "I know that she worked at a restaurant locally here in Vallejo." How the fuck have you never laid eyes on her, Grandpa? You tell me about that. Let's move forward. As Mike said, right before they got shot, she said, "That's Richard, he's gonna kill us both." My grandpa's name is fucking Richard Hoffman. Now let's talk about something else that I thought was really weird. In a letter that the Zodiac wrote, and my grandpa's police reports, and also this poem that I'm gonna talk about later, my grandpa spells the word until wrong. He spells it wrong. He puts 2 L's at the end. Where in multiple letters of the Zodiac wrote, he also spells until with 2 L's at the motherfucking end. Well, let's talk about the Sherry Bates murder that took place a couple years before the Darlene Farron murder. She was in a library doing her homework. She had just moved from Nebraska. Nebraska, why do I mention that? Because my grandpa lived in Nebraska. My mother, biological mother, was born in Nebraska. My grandpa was also in the Navy. Sherry Bates' brother was also in the Navy. This is weird, right? It's all coming together. Well, this murder took place. She was at the library studying one night. She leaves and gets shot up, where they found a poem handwritten underneath a motherfucking desk. And forensic analysis and handwriting analysis say that is the exact writings of the Zodiac. And they say that this is possibly the first killing that the Zodiac ever did. Well, this letter was initialed RH at the very bottom. RH, Richard Hoffman. Forensic analysis experts said that that letter was written by the Zodiac. So why is no one connecting this to my motherfucking grandpa? Somebody tell me why. It is said that my grandpa and Darlene, the one who got shot in Blue Rock Springs, had a romantic sexual relationship behind everybody's back, behind my grandma's back. Let's talk about his character. My grandpa's character, he was known in my family to be abusive, controlling, manipulating, and also unfaithful to my grandmother. Now we're gonna sit here and pretend that my grandpa didn't do this shit. They also say that the crime scene was tampered with. Why did Darlene's family get a call that she was shot before the cops even knew about it? And that call was placed by a payphone outside of Vallejo Police Department. Someone tell me that. And my grandpa was first on scene to that shooting. And later it was revealed that that scene was tampered with. My grandpa showed up on scene within 5 minutes of the shooting being reported. He sent away the officers that responded with him. Who sends away responding officers on a possible double murder? And the crime scene was tampered with. It was later revealed. So you're still gonna tell me my grandpa is not the Zodiac killer? What are we gonna do about it? I don't fucking know. My grandpa's on vacation in a grave somewhere, but I'm convinced.
In this next video, Jfoy shows physical proof as to why he thinks his grandfather is the Zodiac killer. Take a look and tell me what you think.
My grandpa was a Zodiac killer. Yesterday I posted a video that's now at like 3 million views, talking about how my grandpa Richard Hoffman was a Zodiac killer. There's a lot of questions in the comments section. I'm gonna try to address those. I'm also gonna show you guys a few clips from a documentary that includes my grandpa interviewing, acting weird. To my knowledge, it's acting weird for him.
During the ride to the hospital. And of course her shirt or sweater, whatever she was wearing, was off. And each time that ambulance attendant blew air into her chest, there was a little piece of material from her bra that I could see fluttered with every breath he blew into that girl. This piece of material would flutter.
And then a witness statement from the guy Mike, who was with Darlene Ferrin the night of the shooting in Blue Rock Springs.
A friend of hers, and not to worry about it. He was just jealous. That's all she said about it. He was just jealous. She never mentioned his name, but she said something about Richard. His name was Richard. I kept her name Richard. And I think that was his name. She referred to him as Richard, the Zodiac killer, the guy. Did she say he's really a mean temper and that if he ever found out, he would...
So first, I'm not excited, I'm not happy, I'm not thrilled, I'm not proud. A lot of people in the comments are thinking that I'm proud. I am shocked, my jaw's on the floor, and I'm simply sharing information with you guys on the internet. That is it. Not proud, I'm indifferent, I don't feel any type of motherfucking way. Me and my grandpa did not have a relationship after the age of 9. I spent damn near every Christmas there at his house up until I was 9 when my father got custody of me. He would abuse my mother, he would abuse my grandmother and his children, my uncles as well. And I learned that later growing up in life. He hated my mother, he did not like my mother. And in turn, she eventually turned into an abuser herself. Moving forward, what else was there to answer? No DNA shit, I don't know. In terms of writing, I don't have any handwritten anything. I don't know if anyone searched the house for his belongings. Like I said, I am not close with my mother's side of the family after the age of 9. I'm now 35 years old. Here is a clip of my grandpa describing the scene of the night that he arrived of the Darlene Ferrin shooting. I think it's weird. He has a smirk on his face as he's describing the bra she was wearing. Here's a clip of Mike, the guy in a car, expressing what Darlene said as the Zodiac approached the car before shooting both of them. A little bit about me, I was a federal police officer for 10 years. I served in the United States Marine Corps as well, military police. That's my background in terms of law enforcement. I am no longer an officer. I medically resigned in April 2021. That's a little bit about me.
In this other video, he explains with further written proof as to why he thinks his grandfather is the Zodiac killer. What do you think so far?
My grandpa was a Zodiac killer, part 3. If you have not seen parts 1 and 2, please go watch it. I want to start this one off by saying, once again, clarifying, this is not me glorifying my grandpa being a serial killer. This is not me excited and happy and pumped up, or as you guys would say in the comment section, flexing. I'm not flexing anything. I'm simply sharing information. I would assume that any human out there who discovered that their family member is possibly a serial killer is gonna show some type of emotion. I don't know if you guys expect me to be crying or what. Anyway, today we're gonna talk about a few things that also I connect as my grandpa being a motherfucking Zodiac killer. Number 1 is in his police report describing the Darlene Ferrin crime scene. He writes it out, and this is all in quotes, as you can see here on the screen. Pause to read. He writes it as if he's writing a poem, and we know that the Zodiac also wrote the fluidity of a poem. Another thing we're going to tap on is the common misspellings in my grandpa's police reports, and also common misspellings in the Zodiac writings. Although the only word that they spelled wrong was the word until with 2 L's, here's a list of both of the ways they spelled words. And a big one is like the double T's, or using E's with the ing word instead of dropping the E. My grandpa frequently did that. Something else about my grandpa. He was really horrible at spelling. He hated like crossword puzzles, but he really enjoyed math. And he also was a woodworker. That's what he would like spend a lot of time doing, going out getting supplies and spending time in a garage doing woodwork. Could this be a sign of like the coding and the cryptic messages of the Zodiac, because the Zodiac was also bad at spelling. And also, my grandpa, as stated, was on the juvenile division wearing plain clothes and an unmarked car the night of the Darlene Ferrin shooting. And his area of operation was to patrol Blue Rock Springs and Lake Herman Road, Lover's Ridge, for teenagers doing the dirty birdie up in those little areas late at night. Well, he reported on the radio about 10 minutes before Darlene Ferrin's shooting that the area was clear and there were no vehicles. He also arrived on scene of the shooting 5 minutes after they found out about it and said that there was no cars. So he patrolled the area 10 minutes before the shooting, arrived 5 minutes after the shooting, and still reported not seeing any cars on the scene. If he already patrolled that area, wouldn't he have seen Darlene Ferrin and Mike parked in that parking lot? I don't know. A little suspicious. Aside from that, I'm excited to answer any of you guys' questions. Again, I have not taken this to the police. I've only known for 9 fucking days. And this shit is blown up. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. If you have any other information regarding Richard Hoffman being the Zodiac killer, reach out, leave some comments. I'll see you guys on the next episode.
This final video concludes why Jay Foy thinks his grandfather is the Zodiac killer. I want to thank him for sharing his story, and I hope we all learned something here today.
My grandpa was the Zodiac killer, part 4. First and foremost, I wanted to come on here and apologize. In my first video I made a couple days ago, I used a really insensitive and volatile statement in describing one of the victims. There is no excuse for it, and I wanted to apologize to any of the victims and victims' families out there. I apologize. Moving forward today's video, I suggest you guys get your motherfucking popcorn, because I'm about to rock your socks off. If you haven't seen part 1, 2, and 3, I have a playlist up top. Go watch all of them. This shit gets crazy. So if you don't know, my grandpa Richard Hoffman was a Vallejo police officer, and I believe he was the Zodiac killer. So I found this poem written by the Zodiac, and in this poem, it uses the phrase tit willow, tit willow, tit willow. Well, tit willow happens to be a song written by Mikado. And in that song lyrics, there happens to be a mention of Dickie Bird right here. Also, in this poem by Mikado, the tit willow, that's the title of it, it states, when describing a man who's passing away, that he gargled out blood. If you watch this clip here from my grandfather giving a description of the scene, he uses the same type of statement. He was moaning and gargled out blood.
I looked down there, and there was a young guy down there laying on his back. Obviously had been shot. He was reaching up towards me or the flashlight I was holding, kind of gurgling, obviously in pain.
I find that ironic. I may be reaching. You guys can draw the conclusion. Tit Willow is a song by Mikado where the word Dickie Bird is used. My grandpa's name is Richard, aka Dick. Let's get deeper into this letter. The autograph, the signature at the bottom, is obviously decoded and gibberish. Well, when you put these codes together, these little words and symbols, it just happens to spell the word Dick. Richard, is that you, Richie boy? Dick, hello? I don't know if I'm tripping. You guys tell me what you think about the way that this poem or letter is written by the Zodiac and how poetic it is, and also referencing Tit Willow and that's poetic nature. My grandpa's statement right here, describing the scene at Blue Rock Springs the night of Darlene Ferrin's murder and Mike McGow got shot. My grandpa uses poetic terminology, the way he writes, describing the peacocks are singing and it was dark and the breeze was blowing across my face. My grandpa was a poet? Apparently, the way he describes these crime scenes. Leave a comment, share this out.